Innovation pays off.
It's a maiden test century for Ajit Agarkar.
We'll talk about the India versus New Zealand Coca-Cola Cup in 1998. Uh,
Yeah.
so when you were playing that match, and when outperformed extremely well. What was your strategy when you were deciding the speed of a delivery? Like, was that like, as a bowler, do you really use that as a strategy? Like, okay, I need to maintain a certain average of bowling, or or maintaining some speed while you play that?
Uh, Here, obviously, I mean, you look at the situation
Hmm.
where it is at being a new ball bowler. When you get first go, you obviously want to try and bowl as quick as you can. And try and maintain that. The advantage is that the new ball does swing. For a right-hander, suppose it is going away from the right-hander. That is likely to be your stock ball. That is what you want, consistency as a bowler, and that was generally what I looked to do at the start. Be more consistent so that there's more opportunity to get the nick, or that's the way to get the batsman out, particularly with the new ball. In terms of maintaining the speed, you want to try and bowl at a consistent speed. Of course, there are variations that come into place depending on what the batsman is doing at that particular time. But speed is something you don't want to give batsman enough time to adjust, particularly when the ball is swinging.
Wonderful. I think that answers it all. Uh, Next part would be, when you played this match, you did bowl two maiden overs, So how did that boost you, like as a bowler, as a performer in a cricket match? Like, when you put in, you put in so much of hard work, but then, when the batsman is at a good form, he really plays well. So, uh, by putting two maiden overs, how did it impact your average? Was this a part of your strategy, or how do you really like? As a bowler, does it really impact you while you're playing the game in terms of the economy rate?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I said before, it all depends on the match situation. Some days you'll have more runs to play with, some days you'll have less runs to. But your plan invariably doesn't change. You still want to bowl dot balls as a bowler, get that pressure so that the asking rate goes up. Eventually, when you put that, don't give enough runs to the batsman by bowling dot balls, the batsman invariably is going to try and do something silly, which then gives you an opportunity to get a wicket. So that is always the plan when you go into bowl. Try and bowl as many dot balls as you can to create the pressure. In between, you are bound to bowl good balls. Like I said, whether it's with speed, swing, whatever it is, but the pressure is important to get the run rate up, which does play on a batsman's mind to make it a lot more difficult. So the more keep pushing the run rate up, the pressure starts building on the batsman. So that is always the plan. In that particular game as well, I remember that we didn't have enough runs to play with. So the first thing in our mind was to try and bowl dot balls, try and bowl maidens. To start with two maidens was the perfect start that the team usually looks for, because then there aren't enough runs on the board for the opposition. And the pressure then starts building on the batsman to try and do something different to score quickly. So the score pressure always tells.
Wow. So, actually, I was referring to your economy rate, but how beautifully you brought in the fact that if at all you're putting a maiden over, it actually starts increasing the average runs every over these, batsmen really need to score. So you're affecting two things. You're impacting your own economy rate. At the same time, you're also affecting their own run rate. So I think these two things go pretty well. So yeah, that was fantastic. A good view. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Hitting the target is gone. Happy Maripur draws strong blood, and it deserves it. Just a bit of swing.
Hi, we are again talking about one of another spectacular match of yours, which we love enjoying and we love to see it again and again, was India versus Sri Lanka in 2005, where you managed to get 5 wickets. Well, the video was mesmerizing, and we enjoyed seeing all the wickets that you took. But I just wanted to check, since this was the fourth ODI, and you guys were already leading the series. You have a better percentage chance of winning. So do you really think as a cricketer it did impact as a team, or does it make any impact on the whole team or as a player?
Uh, Certainly in a happier mood when you go into the game. We've already wrapped up the series 3-0. The opposition's not in a great space. You obviously, in the back of your mind, you've got an upper hand on them, and that increases your chances of doing well against them. But in no way makes it a certainty that you, just because you turn up to the ground, you're going to go and end up winning that game, because you're still playing against top international players who obviously have a lot of pride in spite of having lost the series, to try and beat you. So complacency never comes into it. In fact, it's the other way around for me. If you have sort of higher percentages that are loaded in your favor to win the game,
Yeah.
I think you are a lot more careful of approaching that game. Or careful is probably the wrong word, but you're a lot more mindful of backing up a good performance before that, going into that particular game again, despite having won the series before that. So no, complacency is the last thing that's on anyone's mind. In fact, you want to do one better than what you have in the previous game.
Wonderful. So, as a player yourself, do you really think when you're physically on the ground, is your mind always talking numbers at the back of your mind, like this percent of over was kind of wasted, or this percentage of our game has already gone out of our hand? So does that really keep helping you run at the back of your mind?
It's always the case. I mean, you see so many numbers on TV these days as well. People putting out stats saying this is the probability of the team scoring that runs if they get so many in this period of time, is the same while you're on the field. While you don't overthink it,
Hmm.
you still know that if you can hold the opposition to a certain number of runs in that particular period of play, the chances of you doing well does go up. Doesn't always mean that it always works in favor at the end, but that's the way you approach. As a bowler, if you bowl 50% or 60% of dot balls
Hmm.
in your 10 over spell in a one day, that increases chances of putting the opposition under pressure. In that they try and do something silly, gives your bowler at the other end an opportunity to pick a wicket, and that's what a team sport does. So the numbers certainly play on your mind, or you're mindful of the numbers going into a game, because there are 300 balls to play with in a one day game. Uh, and the more pressure or more dot balls or more times that you don't let the opposition score runs, your chances of getting the wickets increases.
Interesting. Thank you once again for a very different perspective.
That could be close, and he's gone. Picks up his first wicket.
Now we'll talk about the famous India tour of Australia back in 2003, where we had a fantastic win again on that test. We want to know about you as a bowler when you bowl to a right-hand batsman or a left-hand batsman. What are the kind of chances you really need to take when you're bowling a ball? Like, so how do you really see a batsman actually reacting to your ball? So do you have any strategy in your mind when you do that?
Yeah, always. I mean, you don't go into any game without having a plan or a strategy. I mean, my personal sort of stock ball or my favorite ball was an outswinger, which went away from the right hander and came into a left hander. So that was always the plan. When the ball swung into a left hander, if I could get it right, maybe pick it off consistently, which will always swing into the stumps. There is always a chance, a probability of hitting the stumps or getting him LBW. The same ball with conditions of the pitch, if it straightens from there, can almost, have him beaten and get an outside nick. So the plan's always there. And similar to the right-hander, if I can pitch it into the stumps, especially with the ball swinging away to him, you have more of a chance when he's playing a shot. If you can get consistency where the ball is going away from that guy, to get him out caught at slips or caught behind. So you always have a plan. And that gives you the best chance of getting them out. Every bowler has it. When an in-swing bowler does that, he starts the ball slightly differently, but his idea is still the same, to get the ball in the areas where it is going to be eventually hitting the stumps or
True.
asking the batsman to make a mistake. So that's always the plan, and my plan was always being outswing bowler, was especially to a left-hander, which I quite enjoyed. There are different types of left-handers. Say Justin Langer, I quite enjoyed because the ball swung in. I think most left-handers, but there were other left-handers who could play the ball coming in well. So then you had to change your angle a little bit, maybe go slightly wider of the crease or come closer to the stumps, depending on that particular situation, or even go around the stumps to change the angle to try and get them to make a mistake.
Wow. So basically, you're saying you take your chances not just on the batsman, but you also take the chances on the kind of pitch or at what stage of the game are you actually bowling as well? Because maybe you are bowling towards the end of the game or in the start of the game. All of that considers. So your probability, making a strategy based on at every different point. So that's a very important point, I would say. Another thing I was thinking was that when you have a chance of winning or losing in a particular match, how does that really impact as a player? Because the probability always keeps happening, right? Like, let's say the top three batsmen have gone out, and the pressure starts falling on the middle order batsmen. So then, does the probability of the team losing starts increasing? How does that impact the player? Does that put any pressure on you guys?
Look, I mean, of course, there's pressure when you lose 3 early wickets because, as test over 5 days, the conditions do matter. I mean, when you win the toss or lose the toss, it does play a big part on how the game sometimes turns out. Doesn't mean that a win or a loss is decided on the toss, but if you do lose those 3 wickets, there is obviously more pressure on the guys following 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whether you feel any different, look, I think that's why you train all life, know what's to be done in those conditions, and you assess those conditions accordingly. At a play, if the conditions are tough for batting, know if a particular score will be enough, and as a team, you try and get to that score. But it is so condition specific, sometimes more so in a test match than in one-day cricket, that with every passing hour, you assess where you are at and what is likely to be a good score or what is likely to be a good session for your team, which gives you, more chances of going forward than being in a winning position for that particular game.
Interesting. That's it. And do you ever recollect any example wherein the chances of India winning or losing was quite high or low, and then tables turned around? It could be either case.
I think the Adelaide Test match in 2004 is a great example. I think it's one of the flattest cricket pitches in the world. Any team who wins the toss invariably bats. India lost the toss in that particular game, and we fielded first, conceded a lot of runs, which would have, which almost ruled us out of the game, which obviously increased Australia's probability of winning the game after, winning the toss and getting a mountain of runs. But as the game turned out, we scored enough runs to get close to them and then get them out, which is exactly, I mean, the conditions could sometimes dictate how the game eventually turns up. But that's a great example of, instead of having conditions against you after having lost the toss, we ended up winning the game.
Wow, that's quite interesting. So thank you once again for a valuable input and feedback. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Divesh.
Bhatija pitches it up, goes in! Ooh, swinging, way have come off the back.
Fractions, why am I doing it? Decimals, why am I doing it? And I was fortunate a few days back when Mr. Vaibhav Dixit got in touch with me and he invited me on this platform, which is a second initiative for the Global Talk, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. So we'd first like to congratulate Mr. Vaibhav Dixit for getting so many brilliant speakers on this platform, helping the entire community of educators to look at education far more beyond the curriculum. Now, talking about my subject today, I thought, why keep talking about the same relevant stuff or talking about curriculum or, other topics? I thought, why not just take a break? Why not do something which would be more interesting? And I thought bringing cricket and maths together and creating cricket maths. So, this new initiative gave us a huge motivation to show children that math is a part of every other sport, just like cricket, and this being the beginning. And to our benefit, what we actually saw was Ajit Agarkar, a famous all-rounder. He agreed to join hands with us. He saw a purpose in the vision, and we decided to roll this out for all the kids around us. So we've been having a lot of conversations. I've been trying to understand from him as a cricketer, what kind of maths does he bring to the table, what kind of calculations goes on as a cricketer while he's on the field or off the field. It kind of excites me to see that every part of his game, somewhere down the line, consciously or subconsciously, there's a lot of math being involved, and that is what we want to bring. We want to bring relevance to children. So cricket math is a topic that we're going to be talking about. You're going to see a few examples. You're going to see a few interactions with what Ajit Agarkar and I have been having, and the way he looks at math from a different perspective. I've also been trying to look at a very simple understanding that if you see a cricket ground, there's so much of math involved in it. I mean, right from the time you speak about the ground till the time a match is created, to the way the game is played, the way the whole thing is organized, the way people come in, go out, see the entire game, every part of the game, right from the ball to the bat to the wickets, everything is dominant. Is dominated by math, and you see the minutest details is always there with math. And why are we so ignorant about it? Because we only look at the game, we don't look at education beyond the curriculum. So I think that's where we need to talk about bringing maybe more relevance to everything that kids study. That why are we doing this? Why is it so necessary to complete these aspects? So that's where we are talking about cricket math. Now, when I started looking at this initiative, I saw that kids love playing cricket. They love spending time watching on IPL, the T20s, the World Cups. But when you ask them questions about why do you think this percentage used out here, or when a bowler is throwing a ball, or he's taking wickets, why is it not said that this bowler has taken 50% of the wickets? Well, that's a thought-provoking question. Why are we only talking about percentages when it comes to a batsman playing, or maybe the strike rate of a batsman? Why is percentage not used in, say, when a bowler has given the economy rate? Why do we use average over percentage? So these are the questions which we want our children to start learning. We want our kids to know to ask the right questions, not just give the right answers, because giving the right answers is available on all platforms. You have solutions available, but you want kids to focus on a very simple question, that how am I asking the right question? Because unless I don't do that, it just doesn't make sense. My education is of no value. I hope you enjoyed today's session. You see a bunch of videos, you see a bunch of our interactions with him, with our cricketer Ajit Agarkar, and we also see a lot of other unique ways of interpreting math from a very different perspective. And I hope you change your perception towards the subject after this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Signing out. Thank you once again. Bye bye.